Hey gamers, welcome to my game room. AJ from Rolling With Roc here. It's Friday, ROCtober 30th, and the wait is over. We are now at the top 5 through 1 of my top 67 board games of all time. Quick ROCtober update since it is almost over. Today is the top 5 of my top 67 board games of all time. And tomorrow is a huge day to celebrate Halloween and the end of ROCtober. In the morning, you will have a new Roc and Remy video where Remy and I play Fish Food from Goliath Games. Then I am dropping a bonus video for you all because you have been so awesome all month long. It is an Among Us video from my Twitch channel, so I hope you look out for that. And then on Saturday night, Halloween night at 10 p.m. Eastern, go over to twitch.tv/rollingwithroc, and we will be doing our Board Gamers Among Us Halloween costume party and ROCtober trick or treat giveaway. So everything will be over on Twitch at 10 p.m. Eastern on Halloween night. I will also be filming a video to announce the winners on YouTube, so if you can't make it to the Twitch chat, you will be able to see all the winners announced here on YouTube as well a day or two later. But that's where I will be doing the official live announcements of my winners for Board Game Trick or Treat. Also, just a reminder that these are my opinions on board games that I have played. There are tons of games out there. Unfortunately, I can only get my hands on so many, and I only have so much time to play them. So if you have any issues with this top 5, I understand. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. But these are my opinions on games I've played. If you think anything was missing, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think I might enjoy based off of the list that I have provided. Remember, every comment you put up on a video labeled ROCtober earns you an entry into Board Game Trick or Treat, and that ends tomorrow night, like I just said, on Twitch. So I hope you guys are excited for that. All that said, let's jump right back into the list and finish this thing off, starting at number 5. So, starting out at number 5, I just want to preface this, because this was so hard here at the end, to put my top 5 into an order. There are 2 tiers. 5 and 4 are in one tier, and they are neck and neck, and I wasn't really sure which one to put where. And then 3 through 1 is another tier. These games, all of them, are just amazing games, and I love them so much, and I hope you guys do too, or will if you haven't heard of them or played them yet. But there's a little bit of a gap between 4 and then the top 3. But with all that said, starting off right here at number 5, we have an cooperative action game, campaign game, set in the world of J.R.R. Tolkien, The Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth. And Journeys in Middle-earth is a game that is a spiritual successor to Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. There are a lot of differences in this game, but at its core, this is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, rethemed Lord of the Rings, and then things changed a lot too. But this is a game that has an app companion, and you need the app to play. So you can get that app on your phone or tablet or on your computer using Steam. And what that does is it shows you the whole map. It creates this modular map using these tiles, and it will tell you get, what is this tile? 204, we'll say 204B, and it will show you how to place it. And you'll do that with all the tiles, and you have like a fog of war, and when you get to a specific tile, then it will say place 101B on there, and then it will show you if you have to put any other tokens and such like that. But what this game does is you take a hero. Here is Arwen. This is the character that I am currently playing with in our Journeys of Middle-earth campaign. And this is a campaign game, so there are multiple different campaigns. Each player will take a hero. In this case, here is Arwen. And they get a hero card that looks like that. That's her hero. It has 5 different stats. You have might, wisdom, agility, spirit, and wit. You have a power. You have the number of, I forget what they call those, influence tokens, or there's some sort of token there. I forget what they call it actually in the game. And then you have your fear and your damage, and those are basically your hit points, 2 different qualifiers for hit points. And then you have a deck of cards. Now, it has a little bit of a deck building aspect to it, but more of prior to playing the game. So as you play through the campaign, you acquire experience points, and you can use those experience points to buy some better cards in your class that you are playing as. So you have your basic cards, you have your character cards, and then you have a class that you are affiliated with, and you can change that as you play through the campaign. So that is stuff for Arwen. And then there are a ton of enemies. Like, there's a warg right there, which is awesome. We got more enemies? Yes, we got more right here. Want to get out this guy, because this is the coolest one that we have so far. That is the Balrog. If you've seen Lord of the Rings, you know that this guy is insane. Now again, I want to show you something. This is Arwen. This is the Balrog. You can see how much bigger it is. It's crazy. So that's a really cool figure, and they have these giant spiders. So yeah, like, think if a spider this big was coming at you. It's as big, if not bigger, than Arwen. It's crazy. Any good ones in this pack? I think we had an orc or a troll somewhere in here. There's a troll somewhere in there. But you use your cards. Your cards have different abilities on them. But what you're looking for most of the time is when you have to do tests. And when you do tests, you're pulling cards off the top of your deck based off of the stat that you have in that specific stat. So let's say for Arwen, I have a wisdom of 4. I would draw 4 cards off the top of my deck, and I'm looking for these little success symbols in the top left corner right up here. So that's a success symbol. If I get that, that means that's 1 success for the test. If you get these leaf symbols, that's not a success, but you can use your inspiration token. That's what it is. Inspiration token. You can use your inspiration token to change that leaf into a success. And if you get enough successes, you pass the test, whatever you're doing. Or when you're attacking, you can use those successes to turn them into hits based off of the weapon cards that you're using. So the card might say 1 success, 2 hits. 2 successes, 5 hits, and then a modifier, which is like you can pierce through armor or you can stun the enemy. And there's like 6 different modifiers, and you do all this stuff on the app. So it'll pop up, and it will tell you what the enemy's damage or hit points basically are. It will show you how much damage you have to get, and then if it has any armor, either physical armor or magical armor, and how much of that you have to knock out. Some enemies you can knock out just like one attack. Sometimes you have enemies that have 20-some health. It might take you a couple. And then sometimes the enemy keeps coming back and back and back, even if you kill it. So that's a really interesting time. It is a fully cooperative game. You can solo this, but it makes you play 2 different characters. There's not an actual like one character solo. You play 2 different characters, which is fine. It's not hard to do because at its core, the character only has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe I miscounted, around like 11 cards to start. And then after that, it depends on what you upgrade. And it's an amazing setup game. So we played Mansions of Madness prior to this. We really enjoyed Mansions of Madness for the game. I do not like Cthulhu. I do not like Lovecraft. I know plenty of people love it and love Mansions of Madness. And if you love Lovecraft, you're going to love Mansions of Madness. And again, there are some stylistic differences. Like this uses these different shape tiles, whereas Mansions of Madness is mostly like square and rectangular tiles. But at its core, the games are the same. Like, you can see the inspiration from Mansions of Madness into Lord of the Rings. This is just Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings is one of mine and my game group's favorite IPs. So with all of that together, we absolutely adore Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth. This is from Fantasy Flight Games. Like I said, it does have a companion app. You need the companion app to play this, just like you do in Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. So if you don't have a way of having the companion app, then you won't be able to play it. But if you do have a way of getting the companion app, either if you have a laptop or a computer or your phone or a tablet, whatever it is, the companion app is free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps you. It basically runs this like a DM would, and it works really, really well. There's only one quip that I have about the app. When you first start a campaign, a voiceover reads the opening text. And then it doesn't read anything else until the very epilogue of the campaign. So they give you the prologue and the epilogue, but everything else in between, there's no voiceover. And that's the one thing that I think that Fantasy Flight Games could have put a little bit of extra into to make the experience even better, because then you have to end up reading out every single time there's text. And I think it would be better if they would have done it. But that's my one little gripe about the game. Other than that, I love the app. It works really, really well. And I love the game system and how you play. And that is Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth from Fantasy Flight Games. Number 4. As I said leading into number 5 on this list, number 4 is in that same tier. These 2 games are neck and neck with how much I like them. And this one is all about making yourself a dinosaur park. And that is Dinosaur Island from Pandasaurus Games. And this is actually in the Totally Liquid box. Obviously, I have the base game and the expansion Totally Liquid. These are not the Extreme Edition Deluxe Kickstarter version. This is just the retail copies of the games. But, speaking of Kickstarter, I did recently back both the Dinosaur World and the Dinosaur Island Roar and Write on the Kickstarter for Pandasaurus Games. And I'm really excited for those to come next summer, hopefully. And the only thing I don't have then in this collection is the Dulosaur Island, which as much as I love Dinosaur Island, I'm actually interested in seeing how that one plays as well. So I'd love to get that. But in Dinosaur Island, you have it's actually going to be really hard for me to show you some of this stuff because everything is, this is the box. So there is no extra room in this box. I'm just going to show you. Everything is packed in so perfectly that I cannot really take out anything or it will take me forever to put it in. You can see all these tiles over here, but I will do my best. So you get a mat and it has a bunch of little squares on it, and on those squares you can put dinosaurs or you can put attractions like convenience, like food huts or shopping huts and things like that you would see in an amusement park. Because at the end of the day, this is an amusement park for dinosaurs. Now, what you do is you get these dinosaur DNAs from these dice. Now, these dice are kind of like amber. They look like amber dice, and they have all these different symbols on them. And when you roll the dice, you put them out there, you draft them. As basically as players, you're going to go around worker placement style, drafting these dice as well as the dinosaurs. I'm going to go ahead and pull out a dinosaur for you, see if we can get a good one to show you. Small carnivore, Dimetrodon. I don't know what that one is, but there's a dinosaur. So what this dinosaur does, this is a small carnivore dinosaur. You have to get these DNA to pay for one dinosaur. When you build the dinosaur, you're going to get 2 excitement, 4 victory points, but it also costs you 2 security threats. So for each of these dinosaurs you make, you will get all of that. You can have one dinosaur starting out, but you can create more paddocks. Your paddock space can become more, and therefore you can have more dinosaurs of that type. You will have different goals depending on the game. The game can have goals of short game, long game, or medium game. Short, medium, long. I find that there's not much difference between the goals, though. Like, the game is fairly long. It doesn't increase, at least in our playthroughs, it doesn't increase that much between the short game and the long game. So usually if I play this, I just play the long game because it takes a little bit of time to get out and set up. It does have a lot of components, which is great, and I love it. But this is definitely one of the longer games in my collection, and it has a lot of stuff going on. And it's kind of odd that I love it so much because a lot of my other styles of games, as you've seen on this list, I'm not really into all of that. But I love the theme. Like, I love Jurassic Park. This is basically a Jurassic Park in a box. Pandasaurus made the best Jurassic Park board game without having to put Jurassic Park on the box. And then they're doing that again with a dinosaur world, Jurassic World. They're just doing such a good job. There is, I keep getting more and more Pandasaurus games, and every time I get a game from them, I'm just blown away by how good the game is. There are few publishers right now that are creating hit after hit, in my opinion, that Pandasaurus is. So if you have, for whatever reason, you haven't played Dinosaur Island, play it. And then if you have and you love it, make sure you go and find a copy of Dinosaur World and the Dinosaur Island Roar and Write when those come out. I think you might even still be able to do a late backing pledge. But you create these dinosaurs and you get powers, you roll dice, and you put the dinosaur meeples. I only have the little meeples that look like the Triceratops. There was other ones that you could get from like third-party retailers like BGG, or if you did the Kickstarter, you got a bunch of different little ones. But that's the Triceratops meeple that they give you. And then when Dinosaur World comes, I'll have a bunch of other dino meeples because I did the Kickstarter for that. And I was basically, the reason I kind of did that, and I'm not going to bother getting the ones for this game because then I'll be able to just use the dinosaurs from both and just interchange them. But at the end of the round, after you built everything, you're going to reach into this bag. And you're going to pull out these meeples. And most of them are yellow. And yellow meeple is good. Yellow meeple pays and counts as victory points. But if you get these pink meeples, they are hooligans. And they do not pay to get into your park. And they do not... they take up spaces so they don't give you victory points. So they are little bums. You do not want hooligans in your map or in your park. There are ways, there are workers that you can get that can kind of help you mitigate those and some powers. It is a worker placement game. It's kind of like a little, it's a little bit of city building because you're building your park, and it has a little bit of drafting aspect too, all with, like I said, the dinosaur theme. I love dinosaur games. I've said that multiple times on this list. I want to play more dinosaur games because there's a couple other ones that I'm very interested in. I can't wait to get to play the other Dinoverse games from Pandasaurus. But for right now, this is the best dinosaur game out there in my opinion. And I can't wait to see what they do going forward. So in at number 4 from Pandasaurus Games, Dinosaur Island. And like I said, this is with the Totally Liquid expansion that has like a couple other, it has a bunch of modular expansions that you can throw in. You can play with them all, but I really recommend you just pick like 1 or 2 and play with those, because if you play with them all, it really makes it really, really long. It's kind of good just to play with 1 or 2. But like I said, number 4, Dinosaur Island. Number 3. We are at the top 3. And as I said, the top 3 is its own tier. I had such a hard time separating these 3 games. And even literally right before I hit play on this exact segment of the video, I still wasn't sure if this should be number 3. It's that good. You can almost look at this as 1A, 1B, and 1C. I love all 3 of these games so much. But officially, for this list right now, number 3 of my top 67 games of all time is Wingspan from Stonemaier Games. And man, this decision was hard, because do I love Wingspan. Just the base game in itself is damn near perfect. Like, you can't get much better than this game in a box. Elizabeth Hargrave did such an amazing job designing this game, and I can only imagine how much work went into researching facts for all the birds, making sure the powers made sense for those birds, and then putting percentages on all of the cards, and then for every subsequent expansion that they do, that those percentages still work, is just mind-blowing to me. The amount of spreadsheets upon spreadsheets that had to be used to make this game is just phenomenal. The art is beautiful. The game itself isn't overly complicated. And again, perfect games for me. The size of this box says 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, 40 to 70 minutes. It's perfect. It is literally perfect in every way almost, and I put it at number 3 on my list. I don't know what I'm thinking. But I have the European expansion as well. I actually did a review on both of these, the expansion and the base game, back in February, and I will link to that above my head. I implore you to go check out that review, because I did a super deep dive into Wingspan, and I have played this game so much between then and now, and I have come to appreciate it so very much. It's just a great card game. And there is a digital version that I've recently gotten on Steam. I have played the digital version a couple of times on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Rolling With Roc. And you could go see me live. You can go see some playthroughs of it there as well if you would like to see a playthrough of it. But at its core is you are going to have, it gives you these little cubes. These are like your action cubes. This is how you take an action in the game. We ourselves actually found some 3D printed designs on Thingiverse. And we, instead of using the cubes, we 3D printed these bird houses. Now, these are just the design I used for the yellow. You probably can't really see them very well, but their extra ones are on the top of my shelf in the 5 different colors: green, purple, red, yellow, and blue on top there. If you probably can't see them, but I'll just go ahead and show you another example. Here's the purple ones. So each color has a different shape of birdhouse, and I really enjoy that. You have the birdhouse that they give you for rolling dice, and they have a really cool looking, what's the fifth die? I don't know where the fifth die is, to be honest. They have really cool dice. So these are the food symbols. This is how you get food for the game, is you roll these dice. And they're really, really cool looking. I'll have to find where oh, here it is. These are the food tokens. You can actually get like upgraded food tokens too, and I kind of want to because I like upgrading my games, especially the ones that I love. And then you have really cool looking eggs. So these didn't have to be eggs. They could have been cubes as well. But the fact that they made eggs, and they make them in a bunch of different colors, and every expansion that comes out, they're adding more eggs, is just really, really cool. I'm going to open up the expansions where I keep all the cards at the moment. So you just have, this is what a bird card looks like. So we can get that to not be. So you're going to have the habitats it can live in up here, the amount of food that it takes to feed it right there. You have the artwork, the name of the bird. You're going to have a bird fact all the way at the bottom, as well as a power. It gives you the wingspan of the bird. It tells you the, let's see if I can get that to come up. Shows you the amount of points it's worth with the feather, what kind of nest it has there, and then how many eggs you can put on the card. And then it has that for so many different, oh, well that was lucky. Oh look, currently my favorite card in Wingspan, the Baltimore Oriole. Now that'll probably change once the penguins come into the game. I think there's only one in Oceania, the little penguin, but it has been confirmed by Jamie Stegmaier of Stonemaier Games that they are making a Wingspan expansion for every continent, which includes Antarctica. That means penguins. Like, there are other birds on Antarctica that aren't penguins, and they'll probably be included too. They will most definitely be included too, I would assume. But there are so many species of penguins on Antarctica that there will be tons of penguins. And I cannot absolutely wait. Like, penguins are 100% my favorite animal. And I will be in love with this game even more when there are many, many penguins in it. But I can't wait for Oceania to come so I can at least get my first one. But for now, Baltimore Oriole is my favorite because I was born in Baltimore. And then you're going to have these. These are your goal cards, and the goal cards, let's see if I can get that to show up. There you go. Those are the goal cards, and they tell you a specific condition that you are looking for. You get 2 of these at the start of the game. You have to pick one of them, and you can earn more as you play through the game. But it's different powers like birds that eat a wild food. You can have birds with ground nests, birds with wingspans 30 centimeters or less, birds with wingspans over 65 centimeters. Then you can have birds that eat rats, birds with a carnivore power. There's just a bunch of different stuff. Birds with geography terms in their name. So the Baltimore Oriole would count towards that. You would need 2 to 3 birds to get you 3 feathers, or 4 plus birds to get you 7 feathers. And 21% of the cards in the game fit that category. So 1 in 5 birds fits that category. Whereas like birds that eat wheat, 44% of the birds fit that category. It's really, really cool that anything that has like a special condition like that, it tells you how much percentages there are. So birds with a food cost of 3 food, 29% of the cards in the game fit that bill. And you just have a lot of that really cool concepts. It's like it's just a little tableau building card game on your player map. And the new Oceania expansion is going to have new player mats with updated features. I'm really excited to take a look at that game when it comes. But overall, that is Wingspan. Like I said, please go ahead and watch my video I did back in February. It will have been linked above on a ROC review of Wingspan and the European expansion. And when it comes out, I will be doing a ROC review of Wingspan Oceania as well. But in at number 3, or 1C if we will, Wingspan from Stonemaier Games. Number 2. In at number 2, or 1B, is the last cooperative game on this list and the last IP game on this list. And again, this was really hard to put at number 2 because we play it so much and I love it so much. It is definitely one of my favorite games. It's deserving to be this high on this list. And that is Thanos Rising from the Op. And this is a game that has spun off many others in the Rising series. There is now a Death Eaters Rising for Harry Potter, a Dark Side Rising for Star Wars. There's a SpongeBob SquarePants one, and I believe they even have more in the works in this system. But this was the first one, or at least the first one that I know of, and it is based on Marvel. Of course, Thanos is the titular character and the main villain in this universe, and it is based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is nice. It does say Avengers Infinity War on the box, so it's very much based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe side of Marvel. And at its core, it is a card and dice game. The first thing that jumps out at you, though, when you open up the box, is this giant figure of Thanos. This did not need to be included in this game, but I love that it is. Look how big this thing is. Like, it's let me put it next to my head. That's how big it is. It's ginormous. Look, it just looks so good. And it's already pre-painted and everything. Like, this right here is worth it. I love that so, so much. What you do with Thanos is you put him inside this disc, like this. And then he's going to turn. So it's going to be technically like this way. And he's going to turn. There's 3 different I guess not quadrants, areas here, here, and here. Sectors. You're going to have cards. All these cards you're going to have around the sectors. 3 cards in a sector to have 9 cards face up at any time. Some of these cards are hero cards. You can go ahead and find you a hero. Here is Iron Spider, which of course is Spider-Man in one of the suits that Tony Stark gave him. Some of the characters are villains. There is Ebony Maw, one of the Black Order for Thanos. And what will happen is if there are, let's go ahead and find, yeah, there's a good one. If there are heroes, you can assign the dice with the symbols on them there in this area. So in this case, Vision wants 2 eyeballs and 2 tech. If you assign the 4 dice to him, or in those combinations, you can recruit Vision to your team. You start out with just 1 team leader, and those team leaders are Captain America, Black Panther, Gamora, Doctor Strange. Those were the 4 that you could be in the base game. And then they actually gave you a promo card that allowed you to also make Thor a leader. If I can find Thor in this deck. I thought he was in here. Where's Thor? Thor's gone missing, which is not good. Because Thor is the character I always play as. Now I'm concerned. Oh, there he is. Thor. So Thor is not a base leader, but he was a card in the game. Then they gave you this promo base camp for Nidavellir, and that allowed him to be a leader now. And I always use Thor because I think he has the best combination of the dice that you start with and ability. And speaking of the dice, like I said, it is a dice game. When you play, you're going to roll these dice, and they come in 4 colors. Your green, red, blue, and black. There's your colors of dice. The green dice are favored towards rolling the eyeballs. The red dice are favored towards rolling the bursts. The black dice are favored towards rolling the planet. And the blue dice are favored towards rolling the tech. But technically each dice can roll any other symbol, they just have less of a chance. Now, of course, Thanos and his minions are going to be fighting back at you, and that's what these 2 black dice are going to do. If you'd like to know more about this game, I did a ROC review on this game as well. I actually did my first ROC review on this over a year ago. And I will post that above my head. I hope you guys will go back and watch that as well. And you can kind of see where I've come from to now over the course of the last year. But I loved this game back then. I still love it now. One thing I will say is when you buy the base game, these cubes are damage cubes. At least in the version that we got. I don't know if they ever fixed it. They didn't provide enough damage cubes. We have routinely, this is not just a one-time thing, it's almost every time we play, we run out of damage cubes. Because as you build up your team, and maybe we're just, I don't know, we end up with a bunch of characters, and we routinely run out of damage cubes. So then you have to start using the Infinity Stone cubes, which is what happens when you roll this die. You put a single cube on one of the Infinity Stones, and if you fill that up, then Thanos acquires that stone. If he gets all 6 stones, he wins the game. If he defeats 10 heroes, he wins the game. You have to defeat all the villains, or at least the number of villains that you set the difficulty to win the game. You don't actually ever defeat Thanos because it is based off of Infinity War, and if you remember in Infinity War, Thanos kind of wins. So you don't really defeat Thanos in this one. I'd love to see like a follow-up storyline to this using this game that you can then play like Endgame and beat them, but either way. But yeah, you run out of these damage cubes. And so we had to buy like an extra set of damage cubes from a game piece manufacturer. But small quip, and they didn't cost a lot, so it's not a huge deal. But that's just that's like the really only negative thing I can say about this game. It works so well. Here's the Infinity Gauntlet. You put the Infinity Stone discs, these discs, like this around it, and if it fills up with 5 cubes, then you flip it over, and then anytime you roll that die going forward, it has a power. So in this case, you would remove 1 damage from all villains if you roll that color. I guess another problem is it's hard, but it's not impossible. The die here is just colored. Each stone does have a slightly different design, but it's so minute and so kind of hard to tell, it doesn't help really, because there's nothing else to compare it to. But I can tell the difference. It just takes a long time looking. Like, red and green are very hard, and orange and yellow are very hard, and blue and purple are not as bad because they used a good color blue. But I do have a lot of trouble telling that die, so usually I entrust the Infinity die to one of my other players, and then they will put the stones on that. But yeah, you have villain cards, and then you have a bunch of hero cards in the 4 different classes: the Eye, the Planet, the Burst, and the Tech. And basically it's just you and all of your heroes. You assemble the Avengers all together, just like you do at the end of Endgame, and you take on Thanos, which again, awesome piece. But that is Thanos Rising from the Op. Like I said, go ahead and check out my ROC review of this game. It was the very first one I did. I hope you guys enjoy that, and that is in at number 2. And finally, number 1. We finally made it. Number 1 of my top 67 board games of all time. As you've watched this video, have you been able to figure out what my number 1 game of all time is? Quickly look at the shelf. What's missing? What's missing from the shelf? I'm going to tell you. 3, 2, 1. my number one game of all time is Scythe from Stonemaier Games. And that puts 2 of the top 3 games on my list from Stonemaier, and I think that says a lot about the quality of games that Stonemaier makes, but just the type of game that I like as well, even though they are very different games. Stonemaier does have like a style, and I really do like Stonemeier's games, but Scythe itself is so good. I've recently played the digital version. I do like the digital version. It's going to take me a long time to get used to that, though, because I'm just so used to playing it on here. Now, we do have the oh my gosh, it's so heavy. The legendary box. And inside the legendary box, we do have the broken token. So this is mostly empty box. When I say empty, it feels like it has a lot of stuff in it still. It does. It has a bunch of the old components that we have upgraded, and it has the modular board in it. It has all the boards in it, basically, because I don't think those fit in the box here, or at least, not sure. I don't remember it at this point. But in the legendary box is so much stuff. Oh, there's a board in here. So, you've got Scythe. You've got this giant board, and I love it. In Scythe, this is an alternate 1920s Europa. If I can get this board open. And what are we looking at here? Here's your board. It's got these hexagonal shapes on them. And you start with, in the base game you have 5 factions. But they put 7 faction symbols on the board right off the bat, so you knew that there would be more coming. And you have different countries, like Rusviet is obviously based off of Russia. Saxony is based off of Germany. You have the Nordic countries, which is based off of Scandinavia. You have Polonia, you have Crimea. And then they put in a Japanese-inspired faction and it's called Albion. I'm not exactly sure if it's supposed to be England or if it's one of the other UK countries, but that is a faction. Those are the 2 factions from the expansion. And this is an area control action selection game. You have your faction mat based off of which country you are, and then you have like a workers mat that will be different things like patriotic or industrious, and it has a different setup for each one. And go ahead and fold this back up because it is very big and in the way at the moment. But here, let me just show you some. That's just some of the stuff in the box here. We were part way through the Rise of Fenris expansion when the pandemic kind of started, so we haven't got to finish that yet, but these are the specific metal coins for Scythe right there. And you have, I don't want to show too much because I don't want to spoil the Rise of Fenris any, but see if I can get, I want to get the resources out. These are the upgraded resources, and they look so cool. You have wood, barrels of oil, and iron bars, and then sacks of food. Those are those. And you go ahead and you take, where's the player mats at? I want to at least get the player mat out. Then I have to be able to put this all away. Okay, here we go. Here is the, oh, I'll use Rusviet because this is my favorite faction to play as Rusviet. And you get a figure, and that figure has your character and your animal companion on it. In this case, that is Olga and Changa, the Siberian tiger. You're going to have 4 mechs, which I have to get to those 2 to show you guys. And like these are the powers that the mechs will have. So that's one placemat that you get. But the other placemat, which is probably more important is these ones. So this is the agricultural mat. And this is where, like, this is basically where everything happens. This is your action. So you're going to put your token on one of these 4 squares, and that's the action you're going to take. So you take the top action first, which is either to move your figures or gain coins, pay a coin to trade for either any good or popularity. You pay whatever is uncovered up here to produce on 2 or 3 spaces, and these are covered up with your workers. As you take more workers, you have to pay either power, popularity, or money. And then over here you pay money to gain power or to gain combat cards. Then, once you've done your top action, if you have the correct resources, you can do the bottom action. And these combinations of what's at the top and what's at the bottom are different on each of the player mats. There are 7 player mats for the 7 factions, and you mix them up and you play with each one. There's only I think there's only 2 or 3 actually. I think there's 2 banned and then 1 that probably should be banned combinations of factions and these mats. But at the bottom here, like, you pay 2 oil. In this case, you would upgrade, and what upgrade does is you move one of these are going to have like wooden cubes on them, and you would pull the cube out and move it from the top down to the bottom so that you get more powers at the top and you have to pay less resources on the bottom. This would get you 1 coin. Over here, you'd have to, at the start, you'd have to pay 4 iron to get 1 mech and no coins. So that's not great, because that's 4 iron and you're not getting any return of coinage back from that. Now, if you can upgrade that down to 2, that's good. Over here, this one's 4 wood to build a structure and 2 coin, which 2 coin is good. Again, you can reduce that down to 2 if you can upgrade. But over here on this map, it is 3 food to enlist, and what enlist is there's these little tokens here that will be covered up. When you pull them out and you put them on your mat, you're going to get a bonus, as well as every time you do the action, therefore, or anytime your neighbors do the action, you're going to get a bonus as well. That gives you 3 coins. So the agricultural likes the food action, go figure. And each of these is set up differently. So there's a lot of strategies on the base game, at least, without using the modular map, on how you can do your actions with certain mats the best way. We don't play that hardcore with it, but oh yeah, I wanted to get to the figures and show you the figures just so you can see those. Okay, good. Go ahead and get Rusviet here. So here is Rusviet's figure. You have the Russian or Rusviet lady with her rifle there, as well as her Siberian tiger, and of course you have the red base. Now you also have your mechs. Each character has their own mechs. This is the Rusviet mechs, and each mech is set up differently. So each mech looks different, which is very nice. And then you have your buildings. So that is a mine right there. You have just different tokens. Let's see what else I got here. This is the monument that you can build. You have the little upgraded tokens with the star on them like that. And then in the Wind Gambit expansion, you have this giant airship. And each faction gets a giant airship as well. But that is, what else can I show you for this game? You're going to have different, these are like building structure goals. You're going to have one of those per game. You are going to have, oh, here's your combat cards. These are just cards that will have numbers 2 through 5 on them. And you can add those to your combat power strength when you attack. Oh yeah, these are really cool. These are the encounter cards. They're going to have 3 different possibilities at the bottom. You pick one of them unless you are, I think it's Polania who gets to pick 2 out of the 3. Don't quote me on that. But there's really, really cool art on the top of each one of them. They're all unique. There's just another one. And like the art style kind of gives you an idea of what you're doing. So this one, there's a bear and there's some people in the field, and then it says, spend a day planting crops at the farm to earn some goodwill, dislodge a stubborn plow and earn a favor from the farmers, or salt the earth and force the farmers to enlist. So we kind of have like a one or two good options and then usually a bad option. And the bad option usually costs you popularity. One of the options will usually gain you popularity, and one of the other options will kind of usually gain you buildings or mechs or some other things that you can use in that respect. These are your individual goals. Everybody's going to start with 2 of these hidden at the start of the game, and you can complete one of those to earn a star. And that's actually the first time I've mentioned stars. I got a star here to show you. Can't get that out. These tokens don't want to come out of this thing. Did I get a star in that? No. Come out, please. There we go. There is a Rooctober Orker. And then there's a Rooctober star. And you have to, you get stars as you complete different goals. So if you max out the power track, you're going to get a star. If you max out your popularity track, you're going to get a star. If you win a combat, you get a star. You can get 2 of those. If you complete your goal card, you get a star. If you build all of your mechs, if you do all of your upgrades, if you build all of your structures, or if you put out all of your people, or you enlist, all of those are individual stars as well. And if you get 6 of those stars, that triggers the end of the game. Now, you can still lose if you get 6 stars, but it gives you some sort of an advantage. And the higher you are on the popularity track, the popularity tracks are really, really important. This is the popularity track right here on the board, and it has 3 different segments, and then each of the 3 different classes, or the character, what do you want to call it? Here you go. This is a better way of showing you. So right here, you can see the 3 different sectors, right here, and then up at the top. And down below it shows you get points for the number of stars, points for the number of territories you control, and then points for every 2 goods you control. And this goes up from 3-2-1, 4-3-2, and then 5-4-3 if you get in from 13 to 18 on the popularity. So if you have 6 stars, you're going to earn more points. If you have more spaces you control, you're going to earn more points. And if you have more resources, you're going to earn more points. So those are the 3 ways. And then points are coin. So if you earned coin throughout the game, those count as points at the end too. So it's basically just the richest person at the end, but all those end game scorings help as well. And that, at its core, is Scythe. I'm not done a rock review on this yet because it is a beast. I want to, and I probably will someday. I'm more likely to do more playthroughs of it digitally, though. So I have recently done a playthrough of this on my Twitch channel. You can go to twitch.tv/Rolling With Roc and see that there. It is, I will say I much enjoy playing the physical version than the digital version, but the digital version is a lot quicker to play. The game isn't overly long. What did the box say? Box says 115 minutes. That is at the very peak of my desired playability. Actually, probably even a little over my desired playability. But I love the game so much. I really like how there's so many different ways you can play between the factions. The factions are all asymmetrical. And then on the regular map, not the modular map, but on the regular map, there are, everybody has a different area you start in. On the modular map, that really kind of throws everything out of whack. But I think that was really needed for the game because everybody had these set strategies. It was like, oh, I can win with Rooctober in 13 turns or whatever the number is. And I think that was really kind of unfortunate for the game. Nobody wants to play a game where somebody's like, well, I can do this, and I win. Great. The modular map really just threw that all on its head because you randomize where you start, so you're not even going to start in the same spot. And then the middle tiles are all different as well. So I think on a competitive sense, the modular board is an absolutely must-have. I would say that you should definitely get the Invaders from a Far expansion, because that adds the other two factions. Now, I feel like the factions all play a little bit differently. Some factions lean heavier into the combat aspect of the game. My group is not into combat. We hardly ever attack each other. You can play this game without attacking, or in ways where the attacking doesn't really hurt the other player too much. So you can definitely be more of a pacifist in this game, but I know some people who would just like go far out into war and do the combat as much as they can, especially if you're playing at Saxony, which can earn multiple stars from combat. They could earn all their stars from combat, I think. And so each player does a little bit differently. But this is absolutely well-deserved of my #1 game. You can see how much extra, I'm pretty sure we own everything for this. We've upgraded basically every token possible. We have the broken token insert. We have the legendary box to fit it all. We have the Rise of Fenris expansion. We have the other expansions. And sometimes you get stuff for, you get extra stuff for the game and you're kind of like, oh, did I really need that? This game, I've never once thought, oh, did we really need all this extra stuff for it? Because it is just a perfect gaming experience. It deserves every single praise this game gets. Jamie Stegmaier and Stonemaier Games did an absolute excellent job putting it together. It works so, so well. Every game we play of it feels new and feels exciting. The Rise of Fenris campaign was exciting, and I was really enjoying it while we were playing it. I can't wait to keep playing that. But at the end of the day, that is Scythe from Stonemaier Games. Right here. Every box is heavy. And that is my #1 board game of all time. Now it's time to recap the top 5 of my top 67 games of all time. At number 5, from Fantasy Flight Games, The Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. Number 4, Dinosaur Island from Pandasaurus Games. Number 3, Wingspan from Stonemaier Games. Number 2, Thanos Rising from The Op. And my #1 game of all time, Scythe from Stonemaier Games. And that will do it for my top 67 board games of all time. Now that you guys know the list, go and leave comments down below letting me know what I've missed or what you think should have been in a different spot. Again, these are all my opinions, but those are your opinions too, and they count just as much. So go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And also tell me games that I should check out based off of these games that I do enjoy. Were you able to guess what my top game of all time was going to be? Go ahead and let me know that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and all of my ROCtober content. We are almost to the end of the month. If you missed any of this series, there is a playlist. You can go and watch just the top 67 board games of all time, or you could check out the entire ROCtober playlist. We released a bunch of ROC reviews, unboxings, this series, games with Remy, and a lot of content. I have never made this much board game content, probably ever, let alone in 1 month. This was quite the exhausting month for me, but I hope you guys enjoyed the content so very much. If you did, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Leave likes on the videos. Leave comments on the videos. That stuff helps get this out to other people so much. The YouTube algorithm is so hard to please. If you guys can do that for me, it would mean the world. Also, by sharing these videos and this channel with your friends on social media, that does so much to get new eyes on the channel. Like I said, I put so much work into this month as my 1-year anniversary, and I really want to bring as many people as we can to the channel to get eyes on it and then that can help me improve doing these videos as well. So thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for watching all October long. Thank you. Now this video is not the end of Rocktober though. Tomorrow is Halloween, and I've got a lot of content lined up for you to end Rocktober. On Saturday morning, you will get a video of myself and Remy playing a kids game from Goliath Games called Fish Food. Then, shortly after that, another video will go up, which is a highlight from one of my Twitch streams, which is Rolling With Roc's best Among Us imposter game ever. I hope you guys will check that video out as well. And then on Sunday night, Halloween night at 10 p.m. at twitch.tv/rollingwithroc, we will be streaming the Board Gamers Among Us Halloween costume party, as well as announcing the winners of Board Game Trick or Treat. So I hope you guys will join us for that. Until then, thank you so much for watching once again. It means the world to me, and I thank you all so very much. This was AJ from Rolling With Roc, and you've been watching ROCtober.